Coming to you live on location, this is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway. All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of the Between the Benches podcast, brought to you by Old City Sports Network. Make sure you check out oldcitysportsnetwork.com. Our merch store is officially up. You can check out and use the promo code BTB15 for 15% off. We've got a lot of great designs. Shout out to Nan also again for the great Moose logo and some other logos that we've been using. But yeah, welcome in. We've got a lot to talk about. We're a throuple again, and that never gets old to me. Shout out to Mike. Mike was great last week in our episode of breaking down the playoffs. I'm sure I know there's at least one series we got to get to that Brock is really excited to talk about, and I'm not real sure which one that is, but I'm sure we'll get there. But I am joined by my esteemed Canadian colleagues, Grandpa and Big Canadaddy, Brock Finch. How are we doing, fellas?
Terrific. The gang is all here. We're going to talk hockey. It's playoff time. Let's do it.
Yeah. We missed you last week. We really did. But yes, Mike was a great stand-in. Shout out Mike again.
He actually gave me a lot of notes, like every other substitute teacher. Like typically, you guys misbehave. So he gave me a lot of things that he wanted me to tell you guys.
Oh, do you want to? Well, maybe we'll save that for the end then.
Yeah. I'm mildly intrigued right now. I don't care if this is a bit.
Well, we'll see what happens. It is playoff time in every aspect of the word. The PBA playoffs are coming up. We also have, obviously, NHL playoffs going on. So we'll get into it. Let's get into tonight's episode. We're going to go around the rink. This is sponsored by SteelThreads.com. Check out SteelThreads.com. They got great hoodies, shirts, other apparel. They come out with new designs every month, which I think is really cool for any kind of company. Made right here in the States. And you can use the promo code OldCity10. It's a mouthful for some of these people. For 10% off anything on the site. Plus a portion of your proceeds will go to youth hockey organizations, which is people helping people. That's what we're here for. So the first thing I want to talk about up for debate here, if you will, or kind of up on the docket, was the Seattle Kraken. So I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Seattle decided to clean house this week. Well, I guess they cleaned house in a backwards way, to where they fired, but they also promoted people. So they did can Dan Baalsma, right? After one season. Yep, he got canned after one season. That was on Monday. He finished with the sixth worst record in the league this year at 35, 41, and 6. It's also the second straight year the Kraken are looking for a head coach, which usually is not a good thing when you have this much turnover and this much turmoil. But they did have a new restructuring of leadership for the Kraken. Jason Bottery, he was at Botterill. There we go. Okay, that's how that's pronounced. Anyway, he was announced as the executive vice president, and he is also the second general manager in franchise history. Botterill also served as a GM for the Sabres between 2017 to 2020. He'd won 3 cups before that, as well as an assistant GM for the Pittsburgh Penguins under Jim Rutherford. So other news too, Ron Francis, who was in the GM spot, took over for the president of hockey ops. So he got a promotion, which is pretty crazy. He is a Hall of Famer in his own right, but he was also the first GM in Seattle Kraken history. And the two men had also worked together as co-GMs for Team Canada's silver medal squad in the 2019 World Hockey Championship. So I guess my big question to you guys is this really, I mean, moving forward, I don't know about you, but I think it's weird that they kept the GM that kind of built this team that has only made the playoffs once in 4 years, and they promoted him. But I mean, does this make a big change? Like, what do you guys think?
I mean, they're such a young team. You know, they've only been in the league for a few years now, so you really want to build on a foundation, which is what they tried to do in the entry draft.
Is it?
And, well, yeah, they kind of had a low ceiling.
Okay.
But a higher floor.
Continue.
So I think that's just what they're trying to figure out. They want to have the foundation you need in the leadership you need. And Ron Francis, you know, he's a huge name in hockey, you know, on and off the ice. So, you know, you want to keep the key pieces, but, you know, if you can build elsewhere off the ice, I think it'll translate. Not immediately. God, no.
Well, I think we're past immediately, aren't we? I think we're entering on pattern territory, aren't we?
I mean, hiring a Buffalo Sabres alum to help your team's record is questionable.
Now that's just mean. Now you're just kicking Buffalo while they're down with that comment. Like
There's not many
low hanging fruit.
you can kick below the belt lower than Seattle right now. So I'm taking it.
Fine. I guess like what I mean, like a lot of what they did with that, expansion draft was a little suspect. Like, were they right to not? I'll use Tarasenko as an example. Were they right to not take him? Maybe. It's
hindsight, yeah.
Hindsight, but at the time, and he put up, I think, 70 points that following year. He would have been the best forward on their team by a mile in that first year. And that's not saying much, but it's still kind of, it speaks to what I'm hinting at. Like, now they were bad their first year. They make the playoffs second year. They all out the rain. It wasn't the reigning champs.
No, it was the Avs. It was Avalanche.
That's what I mean. They weren't the reigning champs at that point, right? They hadn't won yet.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But I know they beat the Avs. They beat the Avs in the first round. And that was pretty cool. I think they were the reigning champs, now that I think about it. But beside the point. And then what? Mediocrity for the next 2 years since. And they haven't made the playoffs since. They haven't even really sniffed the playoffs since. So, like, at what point is it, you're building that foundation when, like, you got to start to see, like, look at the Sens this year. You finally saw positive direction. Their young pieces did what they were supposed to do. Their young pieces improved in all the ways. Like, Stützle looked even better this year. Sanderson has arrived. My goodness, I'm getting off topic here, but staying with Seattle, like, you want to see that positive progression. And I don't know. You speak of a foundation. I don't see it. Beniers has looked meh. The Stevenson signing was actually better than I thought it looked better than I thought it would. And the Montour signing was a home run. So you're nailing your free agency signings and still seeing no progression. So, like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. It sounded like, from what I'm understanding, you're saying that you want to build a foundation. I'm saying, okay, they haven't, because they've stuck the landing with everything else. So where do you go from here? Is, I guess, like, it's just a mess, I guess, is what I'm saying.
They've been a young team. Like, everyone coming into the Kraken organization is a melting pot of people from different experiences, different teams, different franchises, and they're trying to build this team. So you have different strategies from different points of views from all over the organization.
But that's what you want.
I was gonna say Vegas hasn't had any problems with that.
Yeah, but Vegas is way more aggressive than Seattle. Vegas will bankrupt its team trying to chase every cup possible. Well, Seattle's like, you know what? We're going to build it within. And then once we get the good core group of guys, that's when we're going to shoot for the window. You can't, like, Ron Francis is playing it much safer than the Golden Knights.
Safer? That's the word you're going to go with? This is safer?
Okay. Who is the Vegas Golden Knights' best prospect?
I don't
care. That they
care.
have actually drafted and played on the ice.
They're winning. Who cares?
Oh, I'm not saying they're doing it wrong. I'm saying they're doing it different. Seattle and Vegas, totally different.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, guys, wait. We'll win eventually. What? What are we doing here? Like,
they haven't even had opportunity yet.
They've been in the league almost 5 years. What are you talking about? They've had lots of
5
opportunity.
years.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 teams have won the cup.
Yeah. And one of those is, hey, Vegas.
Yeah, huh?
And they've been to 2 cup finals as well. Vegas.
I'm just saying
they're being way more aggressive.
Vegas has had only an extra 3 years.
Seattle.
They've been to 2 cup finals. I'm just saying, like, some of this is tongue in cheek, because when you go look at that,
Vegas is going to implode. They run out of any kind of draft capital.
Look at Pittsburgh, but look at how long Pittsburgh was good. Like, you don't just say, wait, we're going to be good, and guarantee you're going to be good for 20 years. No, that's not how that works. How many teams have been good for 20 years in the last 20 years? I'll answer that question. Like, what, 4? 5?
I'd say less, but
Pittsburgh, Washington, Tampa came to mind. But I rounded Boston. That's another one.
Detroit, if you take away the last
4
or 5.
The last 10 years. Yeah, they
haven't made the playoffs in 10 years.
Yeah, so, like, when you're talking about guaranteed success for 20 years, you're telling me that Seattle should bank on that eventuality, that's what playing it safe.
I guess. Okay, would you rather one bad year and the next year you hope the moves take you there, or would you rather like the Detroit where you hold on for dear life, or the Pittsburgh you hold on for dear life, and there is nothing coming up, and you are sitting on half a decade worth of losing?
Okay, what exactly is Seattle hanging on to?
They're building through the free agency, like you said. They're getting the draft picks. Now they're realizing it's not working, so they're changing the management. They're trying to get different voices, and they're trying to get a unified vision to take them there.
They did say they were going to work. They were going to look more into speed and building this core around, made a more sped up style of hockey. I think is one of the comments made in the press conference on Tuesday. So
I mean, in today's NHL, you need speed. It doesn't matter how good you are. Look at Nashville.
You can't play
all
slow.
the talent
You
there,
can't
but
play slow.
you can't.
Yeah,
you can't play slow. No good team
100%.
plays slow. Not one.
100%. Well, we'll definitely see what happens. Obviously, maybe they're planning for Gavin McKenna. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're going to tank one more year, and then they're going to get Gavin McKenna. And
I mean, if you're not one of the like 8 to 10 teams that have a realistic shot at the cup, I would be selling the farm this year. I would be trying to get a top pick.
Yeah,
but we'll save that for summer. That's summer content.
Speaking of selling the farm, by the way, another thing I want to touch on here is bitten in the Big Apple. So I don't know if you guys, both New York teams have made some major changes since we've last seen each other. So Peter Laviolette was fired by the New York Rangers on Saturday, ending his 2-year tenure. He was only there for 2 years. Also, assistant coach Phil Housley was also released of his duties. I got two things to say. Joel Quenneville. Anybody want to take it? I think he's going to enter the chat. I think he's the next Rangers head coach. So you're shaking your head, Brock. Why?
Well, if we haven't seen some team pull the trigger on him yet, I don't think anyone's going to actually pull the trigger.
I mean, with all the shit that went down with the Rangers this year, like if there's any PR team that
you can't have that nightmare potentially enter your situation yet.
All right, that's fair.
You haven't brought up the other piece of information for the Rangers, but I don't know if you want me to save that with what
I was saving it. I put it in the bin. Don't worry.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're going to touch on it because it needs to be touched on now because it just adds to the confusion of what's going on right now. Because firing Laviolette, not surprising. What they did with Drury, I think, kind of surprising given the current state of affairs 100%. And what is going to be happening with that team as we discuss them throughout the offseason. Because I think big changes are coming.
So what does it take to be a long-term successful coach in the NHL? Like, look at the season the Rangers had last year. Laviolette's first year, they win the fucking President's Trophy. And the next year,
they're trading their captain, and they're terrible, and they're underachieving. I think it's just because
the playoffs.
Well, I think in his case, I think it's because the expectation
where it happens.
The expectation was so high for the Rangers just because of what happened last season. I think for them to just completely fall apart and blunder in the fashion that they did, I felt like they were kind of forced to let him go. If there's somebody that's going to fall on the sword, obviously it's not Chris Drury. It's going to be, Peter Laviolette. So
look at everyone who fell on the sword for him, though. Look at everyone they got rid of.
Well, that's ultimately what's caused a lot of the riff. Apparently, according to Elliot Friedman, what they're going to do is if you even hint that you do not want to be a New York Ranger going into next year, they're going to move on from you. That's why I say that there's going to be a very different looking team next year when they hit the ice.
Well, they already have so many free agents in RFA.
I know it's easy to do that. I didn't say it was hard. I'm just saying that, if Chris Kreider hints that he's not all in for whatever reason, I'm not saying that as fact or anything. I'm using his name as an example here, but it's apparently dire straits when it comes to culture, and that's ultimately why I'm not surprised why the coach had to be changed. To answer your question, though, what it takes to be a long-term head coach in this league.
Please.
Paul Maurice, John Cooper, Barry Trotz. Those were coaches that had a lot of success for a long time for a variety of different teams. Some more than others. Like Barry Trotz really only coached 3, I think. Nashville, Washington, Islanders, I think, off the top of my head. I would go do a deep dive on, their careers and maybe figure out common denominators between them, because you're right to point out, Graham, that it's not it's a rotating carousel, and unfortunately, it's a carousel of the same people. So it's kind of funny when people, I thought he would work for us, even though he
Well,
hasn't.
sometimes it does. Look at Jim Montgomery. One
He's
man's
another
trash,
one.
another
One
man's
great
treasure.
year. He has one great
Yeah.
year.
No, Jim
And then look what happens
Montgomery's he's only been coaching for like 4 or 5 years. You're talking about long-term coaches. Jim Montgomery is very clearly a good coach. Bruce Cassidy has only hit a head coach, I think, three times. Those are very short-term tenures that we have
But
to go
look
off.
at how close
Look at Laviolette's
they
career.
get fired
Look at Laviolette's career.
compared to their peak.
Understandable. Look at Laviolette. I think Laviolette's the kind of coach that you're talking about because he had success at one point in his career, but has not found much success since. Random spurts, but I would argue that
Just won the presidents last year.
did he win the presidents or did that team win the presidents?
Okay. Well, did he suck as a coach or did his team suck this year?
Or did management cause a rift? Exactly. But his job is to motivate those players. And if those players are not motivated because of what upper management has done and with their decisions, there's nothing he can do. So so you have to let him go. There's nothing.
Well, to your point too, he's coached for the Islanders, the Hurricanes, the Flyers, the Predators, the Capitals, and the Rangers. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Over how many
6
years?
Teams. 2001 is when he started with the Islanders.
So we'll say roughly 20 years,
Almost
give or take.
2.5 decades.
Well, no, because he wouldn't have been coaching every year all the time. He was fired amongst randomly. So round it down to like 20 years, 2 decades. So in 2 decades, he's done what? Can we quickly look at that, Dalton? Can we look at his, playoff success? Because I don't really care about regular season. I don't know why Graham would cite the President's Trophy to me and act like I give a shit about it.
I mean, you look at success.
Of course, but
let's see.
It's success that matters.
Let's see. Overall, he's 88 and 82 in the playoffs, which is a .518 winning percentage of 51%. He's got 1 Stanley Cup and 14 playoff appearances in his tenure as a head coach in the league.
So he's won a cup. He's won the presidents.
That's not all that great. That's kind of meh.
He's got a winning record in the playoffs.
I'm being facetious.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm like, what are we talking about?
The fact that a Leafs fan would just throw
I just said I was being facetious. I just said I was being facetious.
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, on the other side of the island here, we had the Islanders. They canned their GM. Well, I guess they didn't can him. They're just not renewing his contract.
He was respectfully fired.
But Lou was it? What you want to say this name for me? Lou Lamoriello.
Hey, there you go. I was gonna say, no, you know the rule here. You got to
Lamoriello. So he was the president and general manager. 82-year-old, by the way. Good for him. Good on him. He's still, kicking in the league.
I don't ever want to be working at 82.
I think that's just impressive. But they did not renew his contract. But he has been with the team the past 7 seasons. His 1,470 wins as the GM are second all time, and he was the GM of the Devils, the Leafs, and the Islanders, obviously. He has 325 playoff games as a GM, which is the most all time, and he's second in wins at 172. So, as far as like what the Islanders are going to do, is there a name that pops up to you that would fill that seat perfectly?
I don't think there's many people like Lou. He's said to be old school, but I think he is older than school itself. He is
very, very good way
by the book. He is very secretive. He keeps everything close to the chest. And I think that's harder to do in today's generation.
Yeah,
so I wonder what the NHL is going to be like without Lou.
We're about to find out.
How much more active are the Islanders going to be?
I don't know. It depends on who they bring in.
Like they got pieces that they want to sell. They got spots that they want to add. I think it's a great position for anyone joining it. They can go a lot of different directions.
I think that you're maybe carelessly forgetting some contracts. I don't know if they're going to be able to do as much as you think.
The fourth lines are done. Like that, whatever that fucking terrible.
Yeah, Cal Clutterbuck just retired. That salary.
Matt Martin gone. Like that identity line gone.
Well, they should be. They've been,
They've been Lou's line.
I don't want to say washed, but they've been ineffective for a couple years now. Like on a fourth line, you can't have Matt Martins anymore. You got to be able to play hockey. You can't just be rough and tough.
Well, Matt Martin was playing hockey. He's not that now.
I I don't know if Matt Martin.
How is Matt Rempe in
overall
this
that
league then?
good.
With that said, if you can't,
Matt Rempe can play hockey. He's not
Okay.
terrible.
All right. Well, fair enough.
But you're right. You're right to point him out as an example. I just think that like the Pierre Engvall contract.
That's the one that
Duclair, he's been scratched. He's signed for another, I think.
Yeah, he got injured. I think big
4
injury
years.
he's got value on any team though. Look at how many times he's been passed around.
I mean, that can
Duclair's
be a
just a
positive and a
second-round pick.
negative.
Any deadline you want to get him, move him. All right, you get a second round.
No, not at $3.5 million.
Speed kills.
Except he didn't look that fast this year. I don't know, man. Like,
we'll see. But they're in the Metro. They are in a.
They are in a very bad division. Yeah,
they are in the Metro, and you put the Metro in the bin a couple weeks ago. So there's not to say there's no hope, but there. I mean, I feel like there's a little more glimmer there than the piece. I think when you have Sorokin and Sorokin is on his game, I feel like you've got a top 5 goalie in the league.
Dobson needs a deal.
Dobson.
There's a lot of moving parts that I don't necessarily think I like.
Yeah, they're really flexible right now. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like when you come into a team and take it as your own, this is the best chance to make it your own.
Right, but they don't
key
have
pieces you're getting. You can choose to continue, or you can choose to trade for assets.
Dude, they don't have the cap flexibility that you think they do. Like
everyone has cap flexibility next year.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it's going up.
Yeah, only like what did we say? 8 million?
Only 8 million.
Yeah, plus extensions.
Only Mitch Marner.
That's literally what I'm gonna say. That's really what Ransom's.
That's not a Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner's making over like almost 11. Like, dude, like okay. So Dobson's making 4 million this year. It only goes up 8 or 9. Dude, what is Dobson's gonna eat? At least 75% of that. At least. And that's only one guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. But my point is that you're acting like they have all this flexibility. I don't think they have nearly as much as you're insinuating.
I'm saying the flexibility as you can choose to continue with these players like Dobson and sign them to extensions, or you can move them for futures and create the team your own way that way.
Oh,
and actually bottom out.
Okay. I mean, Islanders fans at Graham Faw on Twitter. Off you go. Like,
yeah, I had no idea. So you're just a New York homer, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's true. You're just transferring from the Rangers.
When did I say they were good?
I was very optimistic. That's all.
I said if you're going to take a job, you can make it your own. You can continue down the same path that Lou had him.
But what if? Okay, let's say you interview for this job. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's say you interview for this job.
And
your recommendation is, yeah. Your recommendation is, I think we should bottom out. What do you think that owner is going to say?
Absolutely, Gavin McKenna. Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
yeah,
if you can
sell
them on that. Maybe.
Do you want to go back to what you just said
earlier? We're not talking, bro. I didn't say what I would do. I said if you're interviewing for the job and you want it, hey, we should suck. Yeah. I don't know if an owner is going to want to hear that.
At least he's being honest. I mean, so at least
what are you going to say? Hold on. We have to sign Dobson. Can we get like a Sidney Crosby with our remaining $3 million in cap space? No. So how are you going to get better?
Like
I'm just saying, you made it sound like you have all the answers and this is easy.
I never said cap flexibility. I said if the next person taking the job has the flexibility to make the team their own.
That just sounds like a bit of a cop out to me, but we can haggle over semantics another time.
Well, let's get into some playoff games. That's what we came here for.
That's what we came here.
That was Around the Rink. Like I said, sponsored by Steel City Threads. Let's get into the Western Conference. We started with the East last time. Let's start with the West. By the way, this Western Conference rundown is brought to you by CustomConcessions.net. So feel free to check them out. Everything in between. You need a food truck, they got you. So we're going to start up the north of the border, if you will. We're going to start with the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues. So game one, the Jets mounted a comeback. They were looking a little suspect, actually. Rob Thomas, I believe, started the scoring for St. Louis on the power play. But they made a nice little comeback. Kyle Connor scored the game-winning goal.
Do you know who in particular looked pretty suspect in game 1? And I'm sure Jets fans about filled their diapers over it.
Yeah, Connor Hellebuck.
Mr. Hellebuck looked a little suspect in game 1. I would have been a little nervous.
It's just got to get the cobwebs out. But they ended up winning the game 5-3. Kyle Connor had 3 total points. Shifley added 3 other points as well. My favorite stat of this whole game is the teams combined for 114 penalty minutes. By the way, so
nice.
I thought that was really funny.
That is a crime spree on ice.
Literally. And then moving into game 2, stop me if you've heard this before, but Kyle Connor scored the game-winning goal again.
Hey, while we're on Kyle Connor, though, I just can't help. I heard this, and I just have to repeat it because I just can't help but think: is there any other game you could think of where Kyle Connor could have been on the ice to potentially score a game-winning goal? A really important game against.
You mean like an exhibition?
No, you mean like where you could have won this cool trophy that's only going to happen once, and we haven't had best on best in years because Graham hasn't smirked yet, so I don't think he's got it. Like, no, they should trade Kyle Connor for Chris Kreider right now.
Yeah, literally. But no, okay. Just again, you get all excited about winning an exhibition game. That just shows really.
Oh yeah, the fact that you're calling it an exhibition game tells me how much you care about it too. Eh? just so we're clear.
But yeah, Kyle Connor scored. Mark Shifley had 2 points. Hellebuck looked a lot more like Hellebuck. He made 21 of 22 saves in game 2. Maybe just got the butterflies out of the way, or just like. I don't even know if he gets butterflies. Maybe it's just the anticipation. He just got so excited that he was like, "Oh shit, I have to actually stop the puck." I don't know. Well,
I mean, he was clearly nervous game 1. I will say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he's playing for a lot. I mean, literally his legacy, I would say, is on the line this year and maybe next year, if you will. Like there's a narrative building, and he has got to get rid of that narrative. It's much like Rory. Like it's gonna get to the point where it's like, okay, maybe this guy can't win the big one, but moving forward, 2-0 series lead for the Jets. Does St. Louis have any kind of chance in this series, do you think?
I do. They're well coached. You've seen how hot they can get at times.
They were very competitive in both those games, too. They only lost both games by 1. You're still in it.
Yeah, you take away.
But
I just feel like game 1 was such a heartbreak for them because they had that. Yeah. They felt like they had that momentum. They had that game. They felt like they were putting all the pressure on Winnipeg. I just feel like they let one get away there.
Think about it like this: if you couldn't beat the Jets when Connor Hellebuck sucked, can you really beat the Jets?
Yeah, and as the series goes on, the Jets should get healthier too. They're going to get Gabe Velarde back or Ehlers. Sorry, yeah, Ehlers. They're going to get Ehlers back at some point. Hopefully, within the next week or so. So you would assume they would get better offensively even. So yeah, to your point, if you can't beat them by scoring 3 or 4, then when are you going to be able to beat this team?
Yeah.
So, but we'll see moving forward. Do you see it going more than 5 or 6 games the way this is set up? I mean, the way this is set up, it's going to be over in 4 as if things.
I had Jets in 6, so I imagine Jets. The Blues will probably win at least one of these next 2 home games, but if they really want a chance, I think you got to win the next 2 if you really want a chance.
Well, that's how math works.
You got to win at home.
Yeah, you got to win both these home games to genuinely keep yourself alive.
Yeah. What did Mike say? Mike said that a series doesn't start until the road team wins a game. So
that's generally how that works.
Big.
Well, and speaking of a road team, by the way, we'll shift into Colorado and Dallas. This game, game 3, is going on right now as we record this.
Watching it as we speak.
Avalanche are up 1-0, which we'll get to a lot of that in the C, if you will. But the Avalanche, speaking of that, they did really start this series with a statement win. They beat Dallas in Dallas 5-1. Nathan MacKinnon doing MacKinnon things. He had 3 points. He had 2 goals. Mackenzie Blackwood added 23 saves in his playoff debut. And they also got 2 points from O'Connor as well. Another fun stat for you for Colorado. Every player on the Avalanche was either even or had a plus rating. Nobody literally went minus in this game. So I thought that was really impressive and just an overall team effort.
Well, they only have 1 goal against. It's not.
Well, yeah, but also not a lot of goals in playoff hockey are even strength. Usually it's special teams.
I don't know about that. The later the playoffs go, I disagree with that. Currently, I will agree with that. Early rounds, sure.
Well, we're still in the first round, so
early rounds, I'll agree with that.
I'll ask you for that take in 2 weeks. Though.
Yes.
And then shifting gears into game 2, Colin Blackwell was the hero for Dallas. They needed overtime. I think it was the first overtime game. Oh no, Washington and Montreal, I think was the first overtime game. But yeah, they needed overtime. He was the hero. The Avalanche took a 3-2 lead late in the second period. Dadadov scored the the tying goal.
I love it.
What?
You say Dad the Dove?
Dadanov?
Dadanov.
Dadanov. Yeah,
Sound
Dadanov.
like Dad.
See?
God
Anyway,
did what?
Dadanov. Yeah, anyway. He tied the game halfway through the third. Like I said, Colin Blackwell brought him home. Jake Ottinger was good. He was really good in spurts in this game. He wasn't obviously what they expect Jake Ottinger to be, going down the stretch. But obviously with it shifting into Colorado, do you have any hope at all for the Stars? Mikko Rantanen's basically been invisible in the series so far, which I don't know if it's because of Colorado's defense, or I don't know if he's got nerves or what's going on there, or just like a fit overall. Like, what do we think about this series so far and moving forward?
I think it's going to be a fight. I don't think you're not going to get any ice you don't earn in that series. I think every game's going to be close. That blowout from Colorado, I think, is going to stand to be the lone blowout in the series. And that's the series I want to watch if I want to watch good hockey.
I will admit that it's been much more low scoring than I thought it would be. I thought these games would be higher scoring because Dallas's defense is so banged up. I thought that you'd see some more 4-3 by now, and just we're about 5 minutes into the second period of the third game, and it's only 1-0 Colorado. And Colorado's been mostly outplayed, which them at home, I would have thought this game in particular, I would have thought they'd take it to them. And the fact that Dallas is clearly in control is mildly impressive. I think you've hit the nail on the head, though, Graham. I think we're in for a slugfest down the stretch. I'm saying this. They almost scored. Sorry, a little distracted. I think we're in for a bit of a slugfest here. I think that this could be a lot more low scoring than initially thought.
Well, speaking to your slugfest point, too, I was looking at hit totals through the two games. So the first game, Colorado had 30 hits and Dallas had 18. Shifting gears into game two, they both had 45 hits.
Yeah.
So definitely the message after game one was we got to be a lot more physical. We got to impose our will, I can only assume. So, moving forward, I can only imagine it's going to take a toll on both teams playing with that physicality and whatnot. Also, Thomas Harley, another stat for you. He leads the playoffs so far in time on ice. So we're going to see a lot of him. Maybe Miro Heiskanen makes his return. We'll see. Yeah. Dallas can only hope at this point.
Yeah, he might not see the series either. Apparently, Jason Robertson is all but guaranteed to miss this series, which sucks.
Yeah.
It really, really sucks.
And that really shines the light on Mikko Rantanen really needing to step up and play a little bit better, especially with Jason Robertson being out. So we'll definitely see if they can get really good goaltending from Ottinger. I think that's about that to me. That's the only way that they're getting home out of the series is if Jake Ottinger can take a game or two and kind of steal one from.
And
Colorado.
Frankly, I think Blackwood's played better. Especially
Blackwood's
in game two.
Great.
I was gonna say I think game two he's one of the main reasons they were even in it.
Yeah.
Like especially early on, I genuinely think Blackwood's been the better goalie so far.
100%.
You know what the worst part about doing podcasts about hockey is when you make a take against a player and they just fucking show you up. Like I was so against that trade with Blackwood. I thought, you know what? They're just fucking panicking. They're getting someone.
He's doing this on purpose.
Almost like someone suggested.
He's doing this on purpose because the next one we have up for series to talk about in the West are the Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. So go ahead, Brock. I'll just let you take it from here. Go ahead.
Oh, did someone say something?
No, I'm sorry. Hang on. Graham, let me fill you in here. A certain someone in our preview episode had insinuated that a certain team was definitely, and I repeat, 110% definitely getting swept in the first round. Do you want to take a guess at which team that was?
If you had any brain cells, you'd say Montreal.
Well, you would have been more right. Because they're down 2-0. You know who's not down 2-0, man?
Who's not down 2-0?
The Minnesota Wild. How many goals does Matt Boldy have? I know you got that on your stat sheet, so I'm making you say it.
I was gonna say that was gonna be honestly that's my biggest takeaway. Are Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy, are they the most underrated duo that nobody talks about in the league? Honestly, because even that saucer pass.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Like they have got to be the most underrated duo. I feel like they could be the second coming of Draisaitl and McDavid. Obviously, like a poor man's version of that, but they could.
Okay. Whoa.
They could. I mean, they're gonna be a poor. I mean, they're more of a poor man's version, but like Kaprizov
Very
has that.
poor.
Let's
talent,
just call them a
obviously.
duo.
Yeah.
We don't need to
you were
bring
good,
other names
good.
into it.
Yeah, underrated duo was good. Let's leave it there. Let's not go Crosby Malkin. All right. Like,
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, outside of, like I said, outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, like if you're gonna rank the top 5 duos, like I feel like you could put Kaprizov and Boldy second on the list, and I feel like you'd have a pretty good argument for it.
I mean, Matthews and Warner have entered the chat.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, accomplishments aside, like I feel like as overall players, like if you were starting your franchise tomorrow and you got to pick whoever, like, and you got to pick 2 players, I just have a hard time believing that you're not going to pick both of those guys to start your team with. Like,
saying, if you're writing them as the second best duo in the NHL, you better make sure you got a fucking eraser.
Really?
Well, I don't know, Graham. He's
I don't know.
poetic about a really good hockey team. You know why? Because they're not getting swept.
That's right.
But
yeah,
no,
they did.
Boldy's got a very bright future. Kaprizov's obviously a stud. He's going to make anyone on the ice with him better.
How about that Boldy contract? I think it's only like 7.5. That's looking pretty good. Pretty good.
The Wild, now they have cap flexibility next year.
Sure do. Yeah, we don't have to debate about that one. Sure do.
But yeah, the Golden Knights did win Game 1. They won 4-2. Brett Howden had 2 goals in the victory. Matt Boldy did score twice in Game 1 for the Wild.
That's right.
Tomas Hertl added 2 points for Vegas. Vegas was 2 of 2 on the power play in this game, and that was basically the difference in the game. Vegas also registered 25 block shots. The fun correlation in this series so far is that the team that has the most block shots ends up winning the game, because Minnesota turned around and had 30 block shots in Game 2. They also had a quick 3-goal first period, which that helps any team. I don't care, if it's Montreal or Minnesota, that'll help you a long, long way. Boldy added another goal. Gustafsson had 30 saves. So is Minnesota in the driver's seat here? Now they've won a game in Vegas, and Vegas is one of the worst road teams, or not one of the worst, but they're definitely like middle to lower of the pack on the road. They're definitely a different team. They fall in that kind of Kings and Tampa category. So, I mean, talk to me. Why is Minnesota going to win the series now?
I won't say that, but I'll say they landed the first punch. It's going to be up to Vegas's reaction to determine how the series is going to go. I still think Minnesota's the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I think the series will correct itself if the better team's going to win. But Minnesota's playing good. They've been playing good. They got healthy at the right time. And that could be the big difference.
How's this for a take? I think, and it's not that hot, but how do you guys feel about it? The team that wins Game 4 of this series will win the series. It's not that hot.
I would even say Game 3. I would say Game 3.
Do you honestly think, like, let's say Minnesota wins Game 3? I don't know.
100%.
If for Vegas,
they have the best. They have the best player in the series, do they not? Minnesota has the best player out of both.
Assuming he's 100% healthy, and I'm not saying he didn't look it. I'm just saying, assuming he is.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, assuming he is. I agree. They have the best player in the series, which means they should theoretically be in it most of the time.
Right.
Because when he's on the ice, shit happens. By God, shit happens.
So, but that was my big takeaway so far through the two games, is that this Boldy Kaprizov, like both of them, like that duo together is not talked about enough in league circles about how actually good they are.
Don't you worry. I'm going to make you talk about this so much.
They'll be in the fantasy corner every week next year. So I can't wait.
Sure will.
Speaking of being in the corner, by the way, is Stuart Skinner in the corner? Because did he blow Game 1? Do you think he's solely responsible for the Edmonton Oilers?
I didn't see the game winner.
Oilers in general.
I didn't see the game winner, if I'm being honest. So I don't know.
Okay.
Like how that went in.
I don't even think you have to see the game winner to even question it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the Kings were up.
I saw most of the first
game.
half of the game. I was kind of half-heartedly paying attention for the rest, but I do think the Kings looked like the better team, most in part.
They are the better team. When Draisaitl and McDavid aren't on the ice, it's leaning the Kings' way.
Yeah. And to your point, I mean,
And they're not
McDavid
like,
had
losing. Go ahead.
McDavid had 4 points in the game, including 3 points in the third period alone. So
Wow,
I mean, he
he
does what
basically,
playoff McDavid does.
yeah,
He's like,
he
"No,
basically
we're making
single-handedly
this a game."
got them to overtime. Yeah,
Yeah.
single-handedly
well,
got them. To
they
overtime.
didn't go to overtime. That's the thing. The Kings
Oh, that's
scored
right.
40.
They scored late.
Nope.
That's right. They scored
Philip
late.
Denal
Yeah.
scored with 42
Yeah,
seconds
that's
left
right.
in the game.
Sorry,
for
it
them
was
to win
late.
6-5.
With
I've
a
always-
fucking changeup.
Yeah.
he basically whiffed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Adrian Kempe had 3 points for the Kings. Kuzmenko, nice little trade deadline acquisition there. He had 3 points. So, like I said, the another little like surprise for the Oilers, Corey Perry led all skaters with a +4 rating, and he did have 2 points in this game as well. So, outside of obviously McDavid and Draisaitl, he was probably the next best player for.
I mean, there's no reason
Oilers.
to not expect Perry to be great in the playoffs. Just look at his record.
I was gonna say, what's the one thing that never goes? They all the players that think the game the right way, like it, they always think it the right way.
I was gonna say Connor Bedard's mom, but okay, that works.
Wow, that's
Nice. Nice.
Super.
Nice. So do we think moving forward the way that Edmonton lost this game is game 2 like a must win for them just from like a psyche standpoint?
No, I think that
no.
Edmonton's message was, you are not going to get an easy win from us at any time.
We are never
You
out
can
of
be
this.
up 3-0 on us.
Yeah,
we are going to come
are
at you
never-
with
4-0.
everything we have.
Yeah,
They were
4-0
4-0.
even.
They were up 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying in the series.
Oh,
You can be
Right.
up 3-0 on us.
Yeah.
We are
well,
not
I think
backing down.
see last year's Stanley Cup final. Yeah, 3-0 lead is still not
Yeah.
a big enough lead.
Do we think
Guarantee
Calvin
a win.
Pickard is an option in this series moving
No.
forward?
No,
Not at all.
Not for game 2.
no, I don't think at all. I think if you put Pickard in at all, I think you're admitting defeat.
Ooh, okay.
I don't
Gotcha.
see how you do it. Because okay, think about it like
a
this.
lot of faith.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's say you change to Pickard, and you do. Is Pickard going to be the guy that takes you the rest of the way? Because I think that you can't go back to Skinner. Just a thought.
I just think
I mean,
think it'd be better to do it early.
Pickard's crease to lose.
Sure, but okay, Graham, come on. Are you winning a Stanley Cup with Calvin Pickard? I don't care
You know
if you
how
put
many
him.
goalies have won Stanley Cups,
Yes, I know the exact.
and then they go back
It's over
and no
100.
good.
I bet it's over.
They go back to splitting starts. They go back to subpar performance. Like, he got them to the Cup final last year, and he played like shit
Did he
for
though?
some of it.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
did he though?
Definitely
Not
for some
really.
of it. So if you're hoping that you get the good side of Skinner,
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you go away from him and go to Pickard, what are you like? What kind of message are you sending to A, Skinner, and B, the team?
well, the message to Skinner is get your shit together.
Oh, okay. We're just in the middle
Team
of our
is,
cup
hey,
run.
we got someone behind you guys that we think will make a save.
And are okay.
He
That's fair.
he was
Hang on.
24 of 30.
Hang
He
on,
was
yeah.
24 of 30 in game 1, by the way.
Yeah.
So
I just a question for Graham though. Like, do you think Calvin Pickard's good enough? Graham Fa.
I don't see a big enough difference between Skinner and Pickard to
Well,
make a
there-
big deal about it.
And you had the Oilers winning. Interesting. Very interesting if that's how you feel about these two goalies.
I mean, they got the best 2 players. On the back
Sure.
end, they got the better defense. Well, more
whoa.
dangerous
Whoa.
defenseman. More dangerous defenseman.
Oh, this
Oh,
man.
is
With the puck.
interesting.
It's coming from the guy who picked Brent Clark to win the Calder.
This is interesting. I
Even
don't
though he
know,
wasn't
man.
eligible.
I don't know. Like this,
Defense.
something
you get
doesn't
guys
add up
in
here.
front of the net. You fucking slap the puck as hard as you fucking can. You got that booch bomb.
Okay.
And if he's not shooting it, McDavid, Draisaitl. Separate win.
So you're really, really like leaning into the Draisaitl McDavid effect here, right? Like which is fine. It's just fine. You
LA's
can do
the better
that.
team. But there's a reason that Edmonton's won the series every time over the last 5 years.
I will give you.
I do think LA's
3.
better than
3
Edmonton.
straight.
I will give you $5 if you can tell me who is on their bottom pair right now in Edmonton. Either name. Give me one of them.
Bottom pair. Now.
That's my point. Like, I bet you could do LA. I bet you could give me one on LA.
Mikey Anderson.
Gavrikov.
I'm pulling it up.
Oh, you can't even do it.
I was gonna say.
I know, I'm
Yeah,
guaranteeing
come on
it.
now. No.
I'm
no.
guaranteeing the answer.
I could tell you
You-
if I look it up.
Oh, no,
Well, in
no,
the
no.
meantime,
This is my bit. Like, I'm not the one claiming that Edmonton's defense is better than LA's. You are. Okay,
Oh,
so
man.
I'm
No, I
clarifying.
said Booch is
Well-
more lethal with the puck than any defenseman with.
And
the Kings
you would have
uniform.
been wrong. You would have been wrong. The Kings Gavrikov is technically being used as their second pair. It's Edmondson and Brant Clark currently.
Hmm.
And
That's
then Ty Emberson and Brett Kulak for the Edmonton Oilers were
Nice.
technically
Oh,
listed as
Kulak.
their
Oh,
top
I've
pair.
definitely seen that name before, but well, fair enough. Well, okay, last question for you, and we'll move on to the Eastern side. So, who do you think in a game like this? Who do you think gains more confidence? Is it LA to the fact that they could get out to a 4-0 lead, or is it Edmonton knowing that they literally got rid of a 4-0 lead?
I think Edmonton.
I don't think
I
either
think
team.
LA knows. I think you're kind of feeling each team out. You know what you're capable of, but I think LA got away with one.
They play in the same division. What do they need to feel out?
They've played each other the last 3 years in the playoffs, Graham. There's no feeling out. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, Edmonton's a different team without Holloway and Broberg. You got
This-
fucking Skinner.
Well, and they are hurt too.
and
Like
they're
they don't have
weaker.
that home. Yeah.
Edmonton.
Okay, let's keep in mind here, near the end of the season, Edmonton's resting their guys. LA sends a full fucking roster up against them. They're playing for nothing, and they try and blow out Edmonton. So Edmonton's pissed. Their fan base was pissed.
I mean,
They got something on their shoulder. They're going to show it.
That's fair.
I do feel like this whole segment could be renamed "Let's Shit on Graham for 5 minutes." But
I mean, you guys don't
like-
actually have takes. You just be like, yeah, I disagree with Graham.
that's
Nice.
not
Well,
true at all.
I just the last segment was let's shit all over Dalton. So
It
I don't know
was,
what you're talking
and then
about.
make him read stats about how dumb he is. That's what that was. I just think that you're kind of, I don't want to say talking out of both sides of your mouth, but
That's what he's
it's
good at.
it feels a lot like you're hedging your bets when it comes to, like, I know you picked the Oilers, so I think it's interesting that I don't know, because I would agree with you
Like I
if
said, it
Edmonton was
comes
healthy.
down to special teams. That power play, I'm never going to bet against it.
Okay. So like I said, you're really leaning on the Edmonton, or not the Edmonton, the McDavid Draisaitl effect. And hey, that's not a bad place to put your money. I'm
They
not
based
going
this
to
whole
argue with that.
bracket on Matthew Kachuk's health. What do you mean? Yes, that makes perfect sense to me.
And I'm looking like a fucking genius.
Yeah, there it is.
After
There it
one
is.
game.
Well,
That's why we play 7.
There it is. Yeah. So we'll shift gears. We'll go to the Eastern side. By the way, the Eastern side recap is brought to you by decalsbyaaron.com. Check out decalsbyaaron.com if you need decals. It's in the name. It makes it real easy. That's probably one of the easiest ad reads we'll ever do. But the first series we'll talk about is the Hurricanes and Devils. Speaking of a series that looks like it's over, New Jersey's just decimated by injury right now. They lost Luke Hughes in the first game. They lost Dylan, I believe, as well. Like literally, I think anybody we could play for the Jersey Devils right now. They need bodies. They need all kinds of people. So first game, the Hurricanes win 4-1. Stan Coven, again, another great deadline acquisition, which you could argue that till we're blue in the face. But he had 2 goals. Freddie Anderson made 23 of 24 saves. Carolina, I think, had 20 more shots in this game than New Jersey did, which I think through 2 periods, the Devils only had like 13 shots, I think, or something along those lines. So just completely dominated, which we know that's kind of the style that the Hurricanes will play. And then game 2 was a little bit closer, at least from a shot total perspective. The Canes did win 3-1. Freddie Anderson, again, makes 25 of 26 saves. I mean, is this the one that's a sweep?
Looking more and more like it.
Like when you think of an upset, you could see a world where Montreal beats Washington. But I just don't see a world where the Devils were ever going to beat Carolina.
Yeah.
Especially given their injuries, I 100% agree. Yeah. Given their injuries, there's not really much else to say.
Yeah.
Unless they get healthy like tomorrow, I don't.
PK Subban could walk through that tunnel for the Devils.
I mean, kudos to them. You know, their young guys are playing important games.
Yes.
They'll, you never know how much that's going to impact them in the future. But I mean, that's all they got about 2 to 4 more important games to play left.
I think that if you're a big Jersey fan and you want to cling to some hope, here's your hope. Go to your local betting app, whatever app you use. Use BetStamp and say make sure you use that to get the best odds. And say use that for your encyclopedia. Nice. But go place a bet on Markstrom to win the Conn Smythe. because that is the only way to the New Jersey Devils are winning the Stanley Cup. So, go do it now if you really want something to cling to, because I promise, if we are talking about New Jersey in 2 weeks, it is, oh my God, Markstrom did it. that is the narrative. I promise. There's no innuendo here. That is what is going to happen if we are continuing to talk about them into these playoffs.
No, that is very true. That is very true. By the way, the Kings are up 2-0.
I was going to bring that up just so we finish the segment, so I can say suck it, Grim.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's definitely looking bleak in New Jersey. At least maybe they can cling the next year and just maybe they got to have Jack Hughes. I mean, Jack Hughes is such a difference maker for them. I mean, if anybody is gaining value right now, it's that man, because it's just showing you how important he is to the Devils and what they do from a team standpoint. So hopefully they win a game. That's all I can say. But to your point, yeah, Conn Smythe, Markstrom
at home. Let the fans enjoy it.
Yeah, just one. So the other series, Graham, me and you can talk about this one because I don't think anybody else wants to really hear about this one. But the Maple Leafs and Senators, Graham. So Toronto did make a statement game one. They did win 6-2. Mitch Marner registered 3 points. Stolarz had 31 saves. Toronto got 6 power plays in this game, by the way. So and they cashed in on half of them. They were 3 of 6 on the power play. Was it, Graham? I guess first question to you: how important was it for Toronto to start on the right foot in these playoffs and come out with a game one performance like they did?
I mean, any Leafs fan knows how much they struggle in the playoffs. You know, they take that taste of defeat year after year. But I mean, I can't throw any shade here. Everyone expects Toronto to win here. I feel like they get the bye. It's not a bye in the sake where you're going to advance and everything's good. It's you're going to advance, but you're going to be bruised as fuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with the way the first game ended. I'll say this. I know you guys are dying to get my thoughts on this series. Just absolutely to get my thoughts on this series.
Leafs, he's calling
I was going to ask you more about game 2, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Ottawa looked really good in game 2. It's not nice because I still have all the anxiety. So I want to preface that with this. But it's interesting that the Leafs are the experienced team for a change. You know, you're not playing against Florida. You're not playing against Tampa. You're not playing against Boston. You're the experienced team. No, they don't have a lot of playoff success, but by God, they've been playing playoff hockey more than Ottawa has the last 8 years. They've at least they know what to do in the first round. They don't know how to win, but they know what to do when they get there. So it's nice from that perspective to have the Leafs be, the not underdog, to be the team that is, like Graham said, expected to win. And for all their faults, they're going to come away with, a couple probably broken bones, shattered cervixes. I don't know why.
Not a single forward on Ottawa
Clavicles
did not record a hit. They all had at least one hit last game.
Yeah.
That's just how they play. That's their brand, man.
Oh, I know.
Brand.
Like, they're born for playoff hockey. This is why Ottawa's exciting in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think this is as good a time as any to stress. Like Jake Sanderson, man, holy fuck. He is really good at hockey. Like really, really good at hockey. Oh my God.
What a nightmare. In game 2 also, it did Max Domi was your overtime winner, which again is kind of a cool story just because his dad was a longtime Leaf, if I'm not mistaken. So just like the whole ties there.
Your American is showing.
Yeah. Right. So just it was just kind of poetry in motion. They did jump out to another quick 2-0 lead in that game, and then they let Ottawa kind of climb.
Ottawa, man, they look good. They played hard.
They did tie the game.
Probably should have won that game.
Yeah,
probably
tied it up with a little over 5 minutes left. John Tavares had 2 points that game. Stolarz again was pretty solid net. He made 26 out of 28 saves. I guess my question, looking at it from Ottawa, how long do you ride with Ullmark? Because Forsberg has been great this year as his backup, and Ullmark has not looked he went 18 of 24 in game 1, and he went 18 of 21 in game 2.
Before Graham jumps in here, I'm going to say this again because I don't want it to sound like I'm rebutting Graham for a similar reason as I did in the Edmonton series. What did you just pay this man for? Like, he's your guy. You can't go away from this guy. You can't. I just don't think it sends the right message.
He's been so bad in the playoffs, though.
I understand. Go
His
look up his
career.
playoff stats. He has not been good.
His career is bad. Yeah.
He's not been good. But I just don't think you can. To me, you can't. It doesn't send the right message to that locker room. I would much rather.
Is it the locker room or is it just him?
What do you mean?
Like, are you not putting in Forsberg to save Allmark's feelings?
No,
or is it the team in front?
I don't think Forsberg improves your chances to win.
Really?
The one extra save could be the difference.
That's a great
it's
way
not
to
like
put it,
Forsberg played bad this year.
I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that, like, when you're talking about pedigree and when you're talking about betting on a goalie, and for my money, like what Graham just said, playoff hockey, the goalies ignore their stats a little bit, because which goalie gave you that extra save? Which one gave you, like, Stolarz last night gave the Leafs that extra save so that they win at overtime. I'm not going to point out like one specific save. I'm just going to say that, like, he gave them the extra save and gave them a chance to win. That's all you can fucking ask for out of a goalie when it comes to the playoffs. Because the deeper they go, all their stats start to look the fucking same. You don't start to see the blowouts. The games are chippier. The games are much tighter. You see less and less power plays. Like, it starts to become a slog. So all your goalie has to do is get you that one extra save. Like, I can go back to so many of those Leafs series over the last 8 years and point out how the Leafs didn't get those saves. But I won't do that because I like my mental health.
You want to stay happy.
I was going to say, I want to stay happy.
Well, to your point too, Allmark in his career is 3-9 or 3-8 in his playoff career. He has an 87 save percentage. He's got 10 PIMs too. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. I feel like at this point, you've got nothing to lose from the Senators' standpoint. I mean, if you go home and lose game 3, the series is over. So you might as well at least throw.
I will say that if he throws up a stinker in game 3, I would probably say, fuck it. You got to switch something up, right? But
yeah, you can't let Allmark think
it's his
he can't do any wrong. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I think that's fair. That's a fair point. But like I said, my statement stands. Like, okay, if he goes into game 3 and they lose 2-1 and Allmark was amazing, you go back to him in game 4. You only go back to him if he throws up or get rid of him if he throws up another stinker. And I'm not even saying Allmark was the reason they lost game 2. You could maybe say game 1, but 6 power plays, and then we can talk about the refs. Like, I don't know, man. Like, how much of this is really on Allmark, other than just looking at his numbers and going, "Oh, they're bad." I don't know.
Ottawa's, I think, outshot Toronto in both games, though, too. So that's
like, if you put prime Dominic Hasek in Ottawa's net, do they win either of those games?
I
don't know. That's genuinely. I genuinely don't know. I'm just asking it. It's like a hypothetical.
I mean, that's like saying, well, if you put Gretzky on Ottawa's roster,
it is kind of like that. Yeah. But you understand the point I'm trying to make. It's not necessarily a fair way to make it, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
That's fair. Well, here, I'll give you 2 stats to make you more happy. So everybody's always bitched about Toronto and like, we need more from the core 4. Well, the core 4 are finally showing up. They have 14 points in 2 games so far. You've gotten 4 points.
Yeah, but I've had enough conversations with Brock to know that the points only matter when they're not blowout games. So like the 6-2s, that doesn't matter. The goals after the third, they don't count because that's when Marner always gets them. So he doesn't show up in the playoffs. It's just when they win by 1 after that, it doesn't matter.
Well, he's got 4 points, Mitch Marner does right now, along with John Tavares, and William Nylander and Austin Matthews each have 3 points. So we'll see what happens. And now, according to data-driven hockey, by the way.
You're not letting him say that and let me say nothing. No, you shut
By the way, well, no, I'm going to give you one more. I'm giving you happy stats. Hang on. So Toronto now, according to data-driven hockey, by the way, shout out to their Instagram page. Go give them a follow if you don't already. They now have the highest percentage chance to win the Stanley Cup at 14%. So
how the fuck is that a happy stat?
What do you mean? They're going to go to the Cup final. Yeah.
Asterisk, it's the Leafs. Like, what do you mean that's a happy stat?
I had them in the finals, and you called me crazy.
Brock used to be so happy like 5 minutes ago.
I know. Jesus. I know, right?
Like, yeah, then Graham goes and says what he said. Yeah, no. It's not you, Dalton. He's trying to deflect from your fucking stats over here. Go look at points for any of those core 4 in games where anyone could be eliminated. I'll wait. In fact, let's do that next podcast. I want to actually talk about that.
You
Because
can.
Graham over here is acting like I'm pretending that, like, Graham, they have 2 wins so far, right? Marner has 4 points. If Marner still has 4 points at the end of this series, I'm going to bitch.
Yeah.
I don't care that he got those points.
The first 2 games don't matter.
It drives that exactly. It drives my point home. When he shows up,
did you say
they
exactly?
win. It drives my point home. If he shows up, they win. When he doesn't, they lose. I don't care about those 1 or 2 wins in those playoff series because they didn't fucking win the series. Show up.
But he showed up in those games, which caused them to win.
Exactly.
It just means they didn't.
So where was he? So where? Oh my god.
Well, technically, if you didn't have Max Domi in last game, you wouldn't have won. Technically,
nah, Marner would have scored the next shift.
Okay. Fair point.
You are deliberately missing the point.
He would get more ice time. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
Let's
right.
keep talking shit about the guy who has more playoff points.
I'm not talking shit about anybody.
Sweater.
I'm not talking shit about anybody. You are.
He looked really good.
I'm not saying
Blackhawks
just
jersey.
you. I'm saying Leafs fans in general. You look at the last 2 years, everyone is shitting on Marner.
You can't look at 6 points in 6 games and say he's point per game because he had 6 points in one of those 6 games.
That's how math works, though.
That's how it works. Who's got an 82 game point streak? How many point per game guys do you have?
Okay.
Where are you drawing the line?
Again, deliberately missing my point. He contributed to 1 win with those 6 points and got nothing in those other 3 games where they lost. Yes, he's point per game, but he's not contributing to winning more often than not.
So you're saying the only realistic hope Toronto has is if Marner continues to produce in every game.
As long as those guys that are getting paid $10 to $13.5 million continue to produce, there is a very strong correlation with winning involved.
Yeah, yes,
Graham. No, not. How many teams? I'm done. This is devolving into like one of our phone calls.
Got to the cup final with 4 guys.
I would say that just to counterpoint you here, and we'll go on to the next series. I think if Stolarz continues to play as well as he has, yes. I think even if the core 4 do not play as well as what they have been playing, they will still have a great chance to win games. Graham, I know you probably missed this stat last week when Mike was looking up there. The Leafs were like 30, 14, and 4 in 1-goal games this year. So definitely the style of play that they have adopted this season
1-goal games
is kind of leaning into that. So if anything, they're hedging their bets of their guys not showing up. They're pulling a U. They're hedging against their core 4 not showing up. So if anything, you could say that's a pattern because they're just
I think it's hilarious.
Not showing up.
Stolar's namesake is probably their worst goalie they've had in net in the last 5 years. Like when you got Freddie,
Samsonov,
like guys who have had more experience. Like Stolarz has been great in Toronto. Don't get me wrong.
Like 31 years old.
I'm not saying
has been great everywhere he's been.
I'm just saying namesake.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't like the stank that's being put on it.
No, I think Stolarz. I love how chippy he's being against Ottawa as well. Like
have you seen the way he's treating Ridley Gregg?
Yeah,
quite literally just
I am all for it.
That man.
Well, I'm not for that, but.
Yeah, molest is not the right word for this context, but you understand.
Anyway, all right. Well, we'll move into the next series here. We'll see if Toronto can. Is there any chance at all they get a sweep? Because that would be. That best.
Ottawa looks way too good in game 2 for me to think that they're getting swept. I don't think so.
I can see it.
Okay. I was gonna say if Allmark shits the bed again, I'm telling you right now, he could lay a stinker at home.
How much did he shit the bed?
Right now, Marner's like 2 points per game. Ottawa doesn't have a chance.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And speaking of 2 points per game, by the way, let's talk about the Capitals and Canadiens. So, a game 1, fun stat, first ever overtime playoff winner for Alexander Ovechkin.
Which is wild.
Like I said, anybody believe that stat when they heard it?
I didn't believe it when I heard it. Like, God.
Too impressive.
Yeah.
That's a
crazy stat. Oh, my God.
Takes him 20 years to finally score his first overtime winner, but he did. He definitely did, and they ended up winning the game 3-2. He also had 3 points. He scored earlier in the game as well. Dylan Strome had 3 points. Logan Logan Thompson has been kind of the unsung hero of the series so far. He made 33 saves in game 1. And then he backed it up in game 2, making 25 of 26 in a 3-1 Capitals win this evening. Connor McMichael, my guy, he had 2 goals, including the empty netter. He's showing up. Talk about a team that's like the opposite. I mean, you're talking about Vegas earlier and how they just, they really haven't built through the draft. This is a team that has built through the draft. I know they signed all those free agents in the offseason, with the Pierre-Luc Dubois and the Chitrins and so on and so forth. But, the Connor McMichaels, I'm forgetting another one that has been really good.
Protas was good.
Protas, Protas had a really good season. But just the way that they've set up organizationally, I mean, it just hats off to them. They're up 2-0 in this series. Is the nail in the coffin? Utah. I mean, Montreal has looked competitive in both games, and they came back.
The nail was in the coffin before the puck drop.
You think?
Yes.
I disagree.
Tell me why.
I mean,
just look. Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
If you want to look at Washington this season, which has surprised everyone, and we all just accepted it. We just accepted that Washington's good this year. Next year, are they going to be as good? We'll see. You look at last year's Washington, okay, they were basically the Montreals, where you just get in and that's your highlight. That's all I see. Montreal, you made it. Good job. Enjoy the next 2 to 4 games.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're already adding the 2 ones. Especially the way they played in game 1 to claw back into that game, I was feeling very confident with the fact that, this is definitely getting to 5 or 6. But I have a feeling I'm going to look at the highlights from tonight's game. I haven't looked at anything at all yet from that game tonight. And I'm scared to see that it's going to be like a low event game. And if it is, then I think we're staring at a sweep.
Yeah.
If they can't win the low event game or at least look competitive, I just don't see it. Like Demidov. Sorry, go ahead. No,
I was gonna say they definitely look decent. Like they were in the game the whole way. I mean, they got the Caps got the empty netter to make it 3-1. But yeah, I mean, they scored first. Montreal was up 1-0, and then the Caps scored twice in the second period, and that was kind of the end of it. But it was definitely a grind game. I think that the experience, I think, is what really showed in this game is like the difference of the playoff experience of Washington versus the playoff experience of Montreal.
Like, I think it's only been 2 games. We still got another 2 to play for sure. I would have liked to have seen more from Demidov. He's really the closest thing that they have to an X factor. Like, he could be that transformation. He could be your Kaprizov. You know what I mean? We hinted at the comparisons to him and Panarin over in the KHL and at their same age and all that fun stuff. If he could blossom into, you see the signs of him transforming into that kind of player that, maybe Montreal can compete in this series, and we just haven't seen that yet. So I'm losing confidence in them getting to 6. I had Washington winning, but I had them winning in 6. It's looking more and more to me like I don't even know if we're going to get to 5. The way I haven't seen highlights from this game yet. I don't have any info on it yet. I'm going based off of what I'm expecting to see, not necessarily what did happen. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think the big thing that Montreal can take away too is Montembeault has played pretty well in both these games so far. So maybe they do have a goal.
They haven't played bad.
No,
they're just clearly outmatched. Yeah, they're just clearly outmatched. Like that's the biggest difference.
Yeah,
they're not shying away from this series.
No,
like,
they're
you can see
playing their hearts out. Yeah, they're playing their hearts out.
Every line,
absolutely, they're playing their hearts out.
Well, we'll see if they can maybe make a series of it, win a game at home, win game 3. It's going to be obviously a
win game 3, make this interesting. Yeah, win this game 3, make it interesting. Yeah,
put the pressure back on Washington and see how that kind of goes. So, speaking of putting the pressure somewhere, my God, I don't feel very good about this next series. I'm going to be completely honest. My heart sunk a little bit last night watching this game. I only caught like the second and third period because I was at the bowling alley, but the Battle of Florida. Yeah, I mean, the Ice Cats, they just shit all over Tampa last night. They took game 1 6-2. Matthew Tkachuk in his triumph return to the ice had 3 points, much to Graham's delight.
You know what,
Florida,
Dalton? I think Graham and I are going to sit out this segment. You just do this whole one by this.
Okay,
Is
yeah,
this is pure theater. I'm enjoying this.
Florida was a perfect 3 of 3 on the power play. It's really hard to lose games when you're 3 of 3 on the power play. They only needed 17 shots total to score those 6 goals. They may have gotten empty netters, so technically they only needed 16 shots to score.
I will say this: the
5 goals.
The number of shots would have suggested a low event game, which is why the score shocked me.
Yeah,
like that was an interesting shot total for what I thought that series would be.
Vasilevsky was awful last night. He was 11 of 16, probably the worst playoff game of his career. The Panthers had 20 more hits, which we talked about going into the series, that literally the Panthers had like 1,000 more hits over the season than the Lightning did. And they added 18 block shots on top of that, just that physicality. And I don't know. They're talented, and if they're not on the power play, I just don't know how the hell they're going to score, because Florida is just so physical, and Tampa is just so like. I feel like Tampa is like the Miami Dolphins of the NFL, to where their speed and finesse, and they've got all the skill in the world. And I love my team, and I will root for them, but like I just feel like it's a terrible matchup for them. This is arguably like the worst matchup for them out of all the Eastern Conference teams for them to play. It's Florida, and tell me why.
Man, you sound like a Leafs fan.
I know. Tell me why this is not going to be like a five game series, because what I saw last night, this puppy's over in 5 again. Like, this looks like what happened last year. Like, this looks like a repeat offender.
I think this is very similar to the Colorado Dallas series. I think you saw the one blowout. I think that's all you're going to see is going to be a fucking dogfight. Was
this a filling out process? Because we've seen this fucking team
already. Not like. So here, I have some fun Florida Tampa stats here for you.
These are interesting.
Both teams have won 47 games this year. In their head-to-head matchups, they split it 2-2.
2-2. Yeah.
Head-to-head wins in their last 20 meetings, including playoffs, they split at 10. Head-to-head in the last 40, including playoffs, they split at 20. Their goals in their last 145 meetings together, 454 each. And the wins in the last 168 head-to-head meetings, 80 each with 8 ties. This is going to be a fucking dogfight.
This is going
crazy.
7. This is going.
That's 7. So wild. Okay,
that's some good stats.
I feel a little better. I feel a little better.
I promise this is going 7. I am not. I'm just sad I didn't get to watch last night, because I would have been curious to see the flow of the game. I'm really excited to watch game 2 or 3 whenever I get a chance, whichever one I'm able to watch. I don't know when they play next, but yeah, if you're a Tampa fan, don't rest on your laurels. Don't get too upset.
The only thing that
long from over.
The only thing that did make me feel better in the back of my mind was like, okay, Vasilevsky can't play any worse than what he did in game 1. So moving forward, you can only assume he's going to play better than what he did. Hopefully the team plays a little bit better, because obviously that's got a lot to do with how well he plays. But
he'll be fine.
We'll see.
Let's have this conversation after game 2. Yeah, you're panicking.
Yeah.
Your Leafs are showing. Your Leafs is showing. Yeah.
My Leaf is showing. Nice.
Yeah,
well, all I'm saying is I saw this happen last year. This literally looked like a repeat of the first round last year. This game, and I just went through PTSD, and I was like, where'd the team go? Like, where'd all these guys go that were just amazing in the regular season? Like, they were. Again, I don't know. Anyway, just the physicality. They just looked overmatched. You know what I mean? They just looked like
Florida's a great
didn't know
team.
how to handle
they
it.
can do that to you. They can do that to you.
Yeah, but if your team's not at their best, it's going to be exploited.
Yeah.
Right.
Both teams have that potential.
That's fair. And like I said, I think I said this last week, Graham, and I might be curious to get your opinion. Do you think this is the greatest coaching matchup in like any round of the playoff ever, with John Cooper against Paul Maurice? Like, can you think of a better coaching matchup all time?
I don't know statistically, like the best coaches of all time, and even if it translates to today's hockey. But I will say I am a big fan of John Cooper, and I'm a big fan of Paul Maurice. And they've both shown success in this era of hockey.
Answer the question.
Yeah, probably my 2 favorite coaches. Battling.
I don't know. Are they the 2 best though?
Is this the best playoff matchup that you could probably like?
I personally would want to go back and look at any of Scotty Bowman's opponents to maybe make that decision. But
for a first round, maybe.
Okay. This is a conference final level first round. Like, either of these teams could be in the conference final for my money.
Yeah.
Like,
Because I mean, you could argue the Dallas and Colorado from a talent standpoint.
That's a conference.
That's 100% from a talent standpoint.
Yeah,
From a coaching standpoint, I think that's still a little suspect. But I think from a coaching standpoint in this series, like it is arguably the greatest coaching matchup that we've ever seen.
I will say this to kind of add to my Scotty Bowman comment and how I would want to go look at other coaches he played against in the playoffs to make a fair assessment. I think good coaching is good coaching. Like I think Scotty Bowman would have success in this era. Just like I think if you took John Cooper and put him in the 80s, he'd have success then. You just got to understand how to motivate people. That's what good coaches do. Like, I think that, you know, it's all managing emotions and temperament. At least that's my.
It's about motivation, baby. Yeah. Getting the biscuit, you know.
And what makes a good coach is kind of subjective. There's some things that are objective, but there's a lot of subjectivity to it as well.
No, that's fair. Well, speaking of subjectivity, I'd love to get your subjectivity because now we have to get really negative on this podcast, and it's time for Who's in the Bin, and this is sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Make sure you check out the website. We're warlordbeardoil.com. Use the promo code OLDSPORTS for 15% off of beard oils, wash, soaps, and more. And any order over $75, you get free shipping. So make sure you get to splurge, use that discount, get some free shipping, and check out our friends at Warlord Beard Oil as Brock is rubbing his nice baby face chin there. We are not doing a degenerate segment this week. We need Cale Makar to get a point right now. He's 2 for 2 in the first 2 games, but right now Colorado's only up 1-0, and he hasn't registered a point. So maybe the empty netter will go our way and keep that streak alive. But we did take that, Graham, by the way, Cale Makar to record a point in every game of the series at plus 300. So that was our pick. But who did you want to put in the bin this week, Graham?
I'm going to put the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, no. Is this because of me?
So they broke a record this year. They are the first team in NHL history to record less than 200 penalties. They only recorded 197. So if the refs aren't going to fucking put them in the bin, I damn well will.
It's our first bin that's actually a positive. Nice.
So they were penalized. They were penalized 197 times.
197 times.
198. They are now in the bin one more time.
For a full 82 game season.
So
it is kind of impressive. Like
they only got called for that amount of penalties, right?
That's
they didn't
correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Could be like 197 majors. It's not
Yeah,
total penalty minutes.
it's not total penalty.
Just amount of penalty.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty impressive.
It's
then.
kind of unbelievable when you look at their roster.
Kind of why I have them winning the cup. They don't take penalties, and they got to get power play.
That's basically 1 a game, right? I mean, it's probably a little over 1 a game because 82 10. Yeah, it's a little over 2 minutes a game, but yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's like 2.5 a game.
2.5. So basically, that's what I'm saying. Like basically 1 to 1.5 penalties a game, or 2 penalties a game.
No, 2.5 penalties a game.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
A penalty a game would be 82 penalties.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking, like, obviously, here I am on the time. I'm still stuck on the time subject. Yeah, but anyway, okay. Well, that's a good one. I learned something new. Brock, who you got in the bin this week?
All right. For those that don't know me, because you all definitely know me so well, I have a brother. I have a younger brother who's getting married, and we're really happy for him. I'm super happy for him. And Alex, shout out Alex. Yep, shout out Corbin and Alex. Very happy for you. However,
oh boy, but. There's always a but.
Did you not know the Leafs playoff schedule? Like, for Christ's sake, they booked the wedding on Game 7. That's, just fucking sick. And then we're doing his bachelor party this weekend during Game 4. What a guy.
Are you not going to watch the game together?
I have no idea what we're going to do. Something with a cabin in the woods. I don't know if we have electricity. Looking forward to it.
We may not see you again.
I could say something beginning of a horror movie here.
I'll be honest. I'm not 100%. I know there will be alcohol involved. I know there's a cabin. For some reason, the older he gets, likes camping, which is weird because no Finch in the history of Finches have ever liked camping. As far as
I hope there is no cell surface, and you just have no idea.
Why do you hate me?
Well, don't Finches live in the woods, by the way?
Those are birds, Dalton.
Well, you just said Finches in the history of Finches,
like in the last name.
Yeah, I side with Dak.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm just going by what you said. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So, okay. Yeah. Is that a mockingbird?
Is that there you
go. Nice. Okay. Well, shout out to Corbin. Hope you enjoy. Hope everything goes well.
No shouting out Corbin.
The wedding.
Telling you.
No. Actually, I'm all for this.
Corbin,
Yeah.
if you are listening to this, send me pictures of my niece, please. Thank you.
Okay, that's great to say. Like, it's about family, Brock. Where's the Dominic Toretto in you? He'd be so disappointed.
You tell that big ass forehead to shut up.
Nice. All right. Well, you hinted at this earlier, so I'm going to put the New York Rangers in the bin, and this is not a repeat of last week because I put the Rangers in the bin again last week for being the second or first team to ever do it twice, and that is to win the President's Trophy and then miss the playoffs the next year. But yeah, they brought back Chris Drury, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand how you can sign him to a multi-year extension after. Does he not have any hand and responsibility of building this team? Like, I just don't get it. Like, how does he not have any responsibility of what has partaken in the Rangers? Like, he had obviously a hand in the President's Trophy, which is great, right? Like, you get some of the success from that. Yeah, you get all the credit, which is probably earned. That's perfectly fine. But like, how do you not get any of the backlash of when the team literally falls apart and underachieves so much that you have to fire the coach? So I'm putting the Rangers in the bin. I think that's a complete joke. Again, you're not standing for anything. You're literally just like appeasing. You're either appeasing somebody or like he's got an in with somebody or something is going on. I don't know. That was just very baffling to me when I read that this afternoon that he was getting a multi-year extension. Like, did he only have 1 year left on his deal? Like, I don't understand.
Don't ask me.
So, Graham, as our resident Ranger homer, how do you feel about the extension?
I'm only a Rangers fan this year.
Okay.
So, their season's done. I'm off the wagon.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll talk to you next season. We'll see who you take up. But that's perfectly. You know what?
Oh,
You're
man.
disavowing them right now.
That might be the fastest.
The Rangers are in no position to give anyone an extension in any part of their organization. I don't care if you're a fucking hot dog vendor. Your job is on the line.
Nice. Oh man, not the weenie guy.
Grandpa, fuck them hot dog vendors. Am I right?
Yeah.
Fuck them hot dog vendors.
There's a lot of stairs in Madison Square Garden, Graham. I don't know if you know that or not.
You'd be surprised how big that union is, Mr. Fa.
I'll show you my union. But anyway, we'll move into we'll get the positive side here as we get ready to wrap this puppy up. We gotta talk about, we gotta give the C, right? So this is sponsored by SeatGeek. Graham, I don't know if you know this or not, but SeatGeek is one of our sponsors. If you use the promo code Old City Sports Network, you get $20 off your first purchase. So you can check out a playoff game, maybe. Baseball season's here too. Check out, you got the Clippers. I'm trying to think of like any teams that are around you specifically, because I'm in Chicago. There's no playoff games happening. So, but yeah, check out SeatGeek. Use that promo code Old City Sports Network. Get $20 off that purchase and get outside. The weather's beautiful. It's a nice time. Spring is coming. So,
Spring's
Brock, who are you giving your C to, Brock?
Well, in true Canadaddy fashion, I am going to say what I always say, and this is the easiest C ever to give out. Mr. Gabriel Landeskog, the captain of the Colorado Avalanche, took the ice tonight. I just saw a graphic. He's had 8 shifts. He's played a little over 8 minutes. So he's tracking for like 12 to 13 minutes of ice time, which I guess is about on par with what you would expect for a guy that hasn't played an NHL hockey game.
And he started too. He started the game.
Oh, you got to start him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you got to start him. Absolutely. You got to put
First
him in
game at home.
Yes.
That, like, I had goosebumps when they, like, that place was rocking.
Yeah,
that place was rocking.
But yes, that is definitely the easiest C I've ever handed out.
Okay.
Far and away.
Yeah, first game since 2022.
Welcome back, Mr. Landeskog. We missed you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good C. Graham, who are you giving your C to?
I always have a good C.
Well, you mentioned the playoffs, seeing playoff hockey. I shit on this team earlier in the podcast, but Montreal, they are the only city to have teams in the NHL, AHL, and PWHL playoffs.
Nice.
So you got Canadiens, Laval, and Victoire.
You said it kind of right. That's good.
Oui.
Your French is showing. Nice. Nice. Yeah, shout out to Connie, by the way. I love how they always talk about her on the telecast when you make it, because she brings them ketchup chips. And I don't know why that's so funny to me that even Linnea was like, oh man, those are the best. And I was like, I've still never had them before.
Oh, so I was going to say what? Connie or the chips? You're talking about the chips. Okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Connie's a great time. Okay. Connie's invited to any event that she wants to show up to. Yeah. Connie's real MVP. So
shout out to Graham's mom.
Yeah, shout out to Graham's mom. But okay, well, I'm going to give my C to Anthony Beauvillier, and this is another fun stat that I found. So he became the first. Yeah. He became the first player in NHL history to have an assist on a Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin goal in the same season.
Fun stat.
That is, he all time.
You're telling me there's not a single All-Star game where Ovi just decided to be a part of for once?
Maybe those are exhibitions.
Yeah, those don't count.
Just like it's like the Four Nations. It's just an exhibition. It's like a practice, basically.
Oh, sorry, Kachucks, your Pims don't count.
Yeah, exactly. Nor does Charlie McAvoy's injury. By the way, I wanted to shout out and put the Minnesota Wild medical staff in the bin. I don't know if because they're the same ones that do the medical for Team USA. I don't know if you read that story or not. If you
I have not read.
Yeah.
The
shout out to Sam, by the way, on our Old City Sports Network. She sent me a thing on Instagram that like it was a guy talking about the Charlie McAvoy situation, and it was just a mess. He ended up with like a staph infection because he was misdiagnosed, and apparently last year Pat Maroon got misdiagnosed by the same medical staff, which is Minnesota, which is the same one, like I said, he uses for Team USA. So they got to get better in that department. Hopefully Kaprizov doesn't fall apart after we've already praised him so much. So, but yeah, shout out to Anthony Beauvillier, everybody else going on. We've got playoff hockey. By the way, the Kings just scored again. They're up 3-1. So we'll see.
Right where we want them.
That is fair. That is very right. It's a lot closer to what it was than Game 1.
Just something about the Oilers letting people go up 3-0 these days.
Yeah. So, well, fair enough. Well, we're gonna put a bow on this puppy. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week to hopefully the first round. Hopefully it's not wrapped up, but hopefully we have some series to look forward to as far as like Game 2, maybe some clarity in the round 2 of the playoffs. From myself, Dak, my colleagues, Graham, Big Canadaddy, the stats department. Shout out to the stats department, hardest working people in the business back here between the benches. We hope to catch you next week. And that concludes this week's episode of Between the Benches. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube. Also hit the like and subscribe button and look out for the next episode. Until next week, you Harley Riders.
Doc, what a fitting ending! This is incredible!